Hey guys, welcome to M&M Plants and Pets. The reason I'm sharing this video is to share some knowledge that I have regarding one of my favorite plants, and that is the rubber plant, also known as Ficus elastica. If you are new to my channel and watching my videos for the first time, I would encourage you to subscribe if you are after care tips of several plants, mostly indoor plants or flowering plants, then this channel would definitely help you for sure. Alright, let's get started. So the plant, rubber plant or Ficus elastica. Now, why does the name Ficus elastica is for this plant? Now the name Ficus elastica comes because if you break or if you chop the stem of this plant, there is a white liquid which is called latex. It comes out of this plant and that is used to make elastic or rubber. Hence the name Ficus elastica, and rubber plant is properly justified. The reason I like this plant is because it is available in several varieties. I have 3 at the moment. If you could see, I have this green one with some variegation on it. Then I have this burgundy one, which is my most favorite one, and I have this maroon color one which has pink maroon leaves on the backhand side and it's dark on the front end side. Now there are many more varieties available and you can go for as many as you want. These are definitely an indoor atmosphere lovers, and so you can keep them inside your house or offices wherever you are working. Now the reason this plant is very famous is because of the shine on its leaves. If you look at the shine on the leaves of this plants, you will understand that it's very glossy, and it's because of this wax on the leaves of the plant. The leaf of rubber plant has wax on it. What is the disadvantage of this? Advantage is that it looks beautiful. The disadvantage is, if you have watched my video on peace lily, the similar coating is on the leaf of a peace lily plant. Now when there is a wax coating on the leaf of any plant, the problem is it is a dust magnet. So now what happens with a rubber plant is that the leaves of this plant will attract a lot of dust. There are 2 things that I can recommend. Number 1, you can spray water on the rubber plant, on the leaves of the rubber plant, so that the dust washes out from the leaf of the plant and your plant is clean. The second method is you can take a cloth, a wet cloth, and you can wipe the leaves of the plant like this so that the leaves are clean. Now if the plant is very big and it has a lot of leaves, it becomes a bit difficult for you to wipe each and every leaf, but if it is a small plant like this, I think it is definitely possible. What I do is I prefer wiping the leaves off, because sometimes what happens is when you're spraying water, the water drops into the pot, and then if the water is not required by the plant, it is just getting the excess water, which I don't like. Also, what you can do is you can give a good spray to your plant on the leaves when the plant is asking for water. So in that way you will keep your rubber plant healthy. And the thing is, it is very important for us to keep the leaves clean, because leaves are a medium for the plants to respire. The respiration process is definitely through the leaves as well. It's not just through the roots. So we need to understand that the plants also absorb a lot of nutrients from the air through leaves. So we do need to take care of leaves. Now what happens in the case of rubber plant? I will show you some example. If you neglect your rubber plant, as in if you don't clean it, it might catch some disease. Mine, if you can have a look, mine did catch some disease, and I'm still showing it to you proudly because I have some remedies that I have done, and I'm pretty sure that this will go very soon. Now coming towards the next point from this thing, and that is how to protect your rubber plant from the diseases, or if it has caught diseases, then what should I do so that my rubber plant is away from the disease. Now number 1 is you should never overwater your rubber plants. Now rubber plants are something that they do not like water stored around them, because in the soil, I mean, because the root rotting will take place very soon. So only if you feel that the soil is now about to dry and you touch the tip of the soil and you feel that it's about to dry, only then you should give it a water. If you ask me, I give my rubber plant water like once in a week, and because it is inside the house, so you can water it accordingly. But please make sure that you are touching the tip of the soil, and only if you feel it is going to dry, only then you should water. The reason my rubber plant started catching disease was because I overwatered it, and that is the reason it started having these diseases, which it will not have now because I am not giving it water anytime soon. In the case of rubber plant, underwater is still way better than overwatering because your rubber plant will not die if it is not getting water for few days. Let's say you're watering your rubber plant every week, but sometime because of anything you just forgot to water your rubber plant for, let's say, 2 weeks, still it is definitely not going to die because it's not that delicate plant. So I would prefer to have a little bit of underwater than overwatering in case of rubber plant, because that is what I have learned from my experience. Now, what should you do if you feel that your rubber plant has already caught some disease? So the first step I would recommend is to add a lot of organic compost and not the chemical fertilizer. Once you add the organic compost, we need to understand what this organic compost will do. Now, when you water your plants a lot, what happens is a lot of healthy nutrients will get washed out from the pot of the plant through the water. So when for example, when we fall sick, what do? We eat good food, we eat healthy food, we eat good medicines, and then that's how we recover. The same thing is with the plant. When it catches disease, what I would recommend is give it a lot of organic compost, because it will help to build the immune system of the plant and to fight with that disease. So apart from organic compost, if you feel that your plant needs to get watered, you can add some seaweed fertilizer with it, which is my favorite, and it's doing great for all my plants. So you can add 1 drop of seaweed fertilizer with the water that you're giving to your plant, and that will definitely help your plant to be more strong. Next is how to keep this plant growing green ever after. There are 3 main important components that I feel is the key to success, and number 1 is water. As I said, you have to keep this plant moist. Now, if you feel that because you want to keep it moist and you are going to overwater it, the best remedy is to have a plate underneath the pot of this plant with some stones on it, and some water which is on the stones, which is touching the stones of the plate and not the base of the pot. So that will give some humid climate. But if you don't want to do that, which I don't do mostly because it's a lot of cleaning and all that, so what I do is I keep my rubber plants surrounded with my other house plants, because that gives it a lot of humid atmosphere, and rubber plants, they love humidity, they don't love dry atmosphere at all. Next is the exposure to light. Rubber plants, they definitely do not like direct sunlight. If you keep your rubber plants in direct sunlight, especially the afternoon ones or the summer sunlight, it will definitely burn the leaves of the rubber plant. Or if it's not burning, what happens is your rubber plant will become sick and it will start shedding the leaves. So what I would recommend is you can keep your rubber plant in such room where it is a lot of bright light, and whenever you see your rubber plant in the daytime, you have to check one thing, that your leaves of rubber plant should shine with the light. That means it is getting the proper light. You can keep it near the window when the window is open, and the leaves should not touch the glass because it might get very hot or cold, which it will not like at all. Next and most important step is fertilizer. Rubber plants that do not require a lot of fertilizers and repotting. I have not repotted my rubber plant for a long period of time. What you can do is, if you feel that the roots are coming out underneath the pot, only then it is required for you to repot your rubber plant, but otherwise not. And you can give fertilizers such as organic compost, or if you have potted it in potting mix, then definitely once in 6 months, or let's say 3-4 months also is good enough, and not more than that. If you are someone who has yet not bought a rubber plant but is looking forward to buy one good tip is, whenever you buy a rubber plant, make sure that all the leaves are looking very fresh and none of the leaves are dead. And the second thing is that the tip of the rubber plant should have a new leaf coming up. That means there should be some growth that you're able to see in the rubber plant. The reason I said that that none of the leaves should be dead or something like that is because you never know that leaf is dying because of the old age, or that leaf is dying because of the disease. Because if that leaf is dying because of the disease, it is very easy for the disease to spread faster in case of rubber plant. Overall, the best atmosphere that you can give to your rubber plant is bright light exposure during the daytime, humid atmosphere, not a lot of water, a very humid soil I would say, and good organic compost surrounded with the roots of the plant, and that is the best. And also not a very big size pot compared to the plant size, like a very medium size pot for a good size plant, and that should be all. Now if you feel that you want to propagate your rubber plant, what you can do is, it depends what sort of rubber plant you want. Like I want this rubber plant to be a bit bushy. So when you want your rubber plant to be bushy, what you can do is, if you have a stem of the rubber plant, you can just cut it from here. What happens is, when you cut it from here at 45-degree angles, it will start giving 2 nodes from that side. Then when those 2 nodes will grow, you can cut each of them again with 45-degree angle, and each of them will again give 2 nodes. This will make your rubber plant bushier. Now I want this rubber plant to be bushy and this one just to go straight. Now when you have your rubber plant, if you want your rubber plant to go straight, you don't need to propagate it or cut it from any end. But what you will have to do is, when it grows a bit taller, you will have to get a good big stick, and you will have to give it a good support. So I've already got a stick. So when it will grow a bit more, what I'll do is, I'll put this stick like this, and I'll have to give it a support, because when it grows very tall, it requires a lot of support. So this is what you should do. So it depends on you what you want, and accordingly you can take the measure. In a nutshell, this plant is definitely one of those plants that you should have in your house, because it is, yes, indeed a air purifier plant, and it absorbs harmful components like formaldehyde, and I'm not going to take more fancy names, but it is definitely going to absorb them and give you fresh oxygen to breathe. They look great when they are kept inside your house, and especially when you keep burgundy rubber plant, which is my favorite, amongst the other green plants. It just breaks that uniformity and it looks good for sure. Do have few rubber plants or Ficus elastica, the fancy name, in your life, and definitely you will be proud of them, and they will definitely not ask for a lot of care. Just a little bit of watch on them is more than enough. And if you feel that there is any problem regarding your rubber plant which I couldn't cover, feel free to comment below in the comment section, and I would definitely get back to you. Bye bye.